Last Sunday, President Donald Trump decided to put a very racial tweet out. And that tweet has been echoed all throughout last week, throughout this week, and it still continues on no matter how many times we're saying that it is racist. So, here's what happened last week. Donald Trump had decided to go after the 4 congresswomen basically for the fact that they were of color, they were women, and they were also Democrats. And they were also progressives. So, yeah, you can tell where this is going. Now, what Trump tweeted last week was so interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are complete and total catastrophe. The worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all. Now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on the earth, on how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it's done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm so sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements. This was last Sunday. Now let me go back to that one sentence. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Think about it for that a second. Go back and fix the places from which they came. Keep in mind that last year he was talking about shithole countries. And you're telling these 4 congresswomen, we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, we have Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib from Michigan, and Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts. And then Donald Trump telling them, go back to the countries. Now, let me clarify for a minute here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is from the United States. Ayanna Pressley is from the United States. Rashida Tlaib is from the United States. Ilhan Omar is actually from Somalia. And funny thing about that. So, you're telling 4 of these congresswomen to go back to their countries. Well, unfortunately, 3 of the 4, as I mentioned, are actually from the United States. But you don't care to look at that because you see them as people of color. Another funny thing is that Ilhan Omar is a U.S. citizen since the year 2000. If you can believe that. Oh, wait, that's right. You don't care to listen. In fact, last week, he was at a rally in North Carolina in which his supporters are shouting, "Send her back! Send her back!" Meaning Ilhan Omar sending her back to Somalia. Unfortunately, she's a U.S. citizen. Not only that, this refugee came when her age was in the single digits, and in the year 2000, she was a U.S. citizen, which means she's here in this country legally. In fact, she has been here as a U.S. citizen longer than your wife, Melania Trump. Oops, I forgot to mention that. Donald Trump is trying to say, no, my comments were not racist. I was telling them to go back to the countries because their governments are doing something terrible. No. You are being completely racist. You are being completely racist and sexist about it. In fact, it was hard enough to even contain my anger about this. And yet, you keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, quintupling down, sextupling down. You don't know when to shut up. That is you. You don't know when to shut up about these 4 women. You can't tell them to go back to the countries when they're already in the countries to begin with. When they're already born in the countries to begin with. I mean, Ilhan Omar, that's one thing. But that's BS compared to what you've been saying about others. He's also ignoring lawmakers telling them that you should stop. You should stop. Alright? These comments are getting out of control. Oh, you should stop. No. My comments are my comments. I do not care what you have to say. These are my comments. I don't care what you lawmakers have to say. I run my country. You have so many grounds for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. Unfortunately, you also have a corrupt Democrat in Nancy Pelosi who is not only not going to invoke it, but also had her own comments about these 4 congresswomen, which she calls the squad, especially when talking to Maureen Dowd a few weeks ago, saying that, look, they're just 4 people. What do I care? Like I said several weeks ago, I said that Nancy Pelosi has become Donald Trump's bitch. And it keeps going after and after again, in which I'm actually right. It also doesn't help that these 4 were against a budget to spend on these concentration camps. These Nazi-inspired concentration camps on these immigrant children who have been denied hygienic care, who have been denied cleanliness, beds to be slept on. No, they don't care. These people down in Texas and Arizona, wherever they're being held in because they're separating children from their adults, just for trying to cross a border to get, away from their crime-infested countries. You have Donald Trump going like, no, you go back now. We are not going to accept you. Even after they cut off, help for their crime-infested countries. Like, we want crime to happen there. All of a sudden, there's huge chaos. There's huge crime going on there. They seek asylum here. They're going like, no, you go back. You get yourself killed. Don't deal with me. That's Donald Trump right there. His racism is out of control. His sexism is out of control. He thinks he is above the law. He thinks he's a god. This is time where the 25th Amendment comes in. Now, Robert Mueller is going to come in tomorrow and testify in front of the House of Representatives. And if Nancy Pelosi doesn't do this, her big fear may be the fact that, Mitch McConnell in the Senate is going to say, we're not going to take this to a vote because I don't care. Yeah, Mitch McConnell is also a racist. A lot of the Republicans in D.C. are racist because they don't care what the other people are because they're Democrats and some of them are of color, including Elijah Cummings, who, you've seen go after a lot of these people. Nancy Pelosi may do a lot of things that may benefit one side or another, but no. Nancy Pelosi, if she does not defend the squad, as she puts it, if she does not defend Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, Tlaib, or Pressley, she's a Republican. I don't care what people will say what she does. If she doesn't defend her own party, if she doesn't defend these people, she's as a Republican as Mitch McConnell, as Scott Walker, as Paul Ryan, as a lot of these people, even Cyclops Ben Crenshaw. Donald Trump has to be stopped. And if no one's going to step up to him, then racism has been legalized. We are allowed to say what we want to other people because of the color of their skin, because of the religions they take, because of the gender they're born with, or the gender they become because they feel like they have an identity crisis. Donald Trump has to be stopped. This is out of control. This is no longer necessary. This is not a president. This is a dictator. Someone needs to step up. Someone needs to take him down. And if Pelosi is not going to do it, she needs to step off the Speaker of the House. Pronto.